Oh, hello everybody. I'm just doing some spring cleaning. Sorry about that. Hello. Let me situate myself here. I want to apologize for calling everyone in this late. I know people have work tomorrow. I know several of you have woken up. It's just a report for duty, and I thank you, but we we have some serious work to do. Thank you for the beats compliments, Charles. Glad that you're here. Don't worry about any moon cheese. What's going to happen in this video with this game? Let me get this microphone a little bit closer here, so I could be closer to all of your ears. This game right here is it's not a game that you can pick up and just start playing, but it's such a good looking game, and it has so many excellent options that it's one of these games that I really want to take the time to do my homework. Now, for those of you that have been following for a while, and if anyone wants an EL fudge, just go ahead and grab one. If you've been following for a while, you know that I absolutely was not going to buy this book. It was too expensive. And then I accidentally bought it. And then they accidentally sent me a soft cover of it. Well, they didn't. I bought it from a third party, and they sent me a soft cover. And I returned it and bought the genuine article from Black Oath Games, who is the publisher of this, written by Alex T. Across 1,000 Dead Worlds. And boy, oh boy, am I glad that I sent this back to this small third-party distributor. It rhymes with Tlamazom, because they sent me a soft cover that I don't know if it was Amazon, to be honest. It might have been, somebody selling it from their garage. But it was not only was it a soft cover, it also cost $7 more than this hardcover. And let me just tell you about a little extra features here that we get this hardcover here. First of all, we get a hardcover and we get a ribbon. It's very nice. Do love a good ribbon, although sometimes I feel some books go a little ribbon wild. 500 ribbons. We also got some grids, combat grids here. So we have Alien Facility 1, Alien Facility 2, Alien Facility, 3. But then we switch to Alien Planet 1. Aliens have rivers too. And then we have Alien City, Alien Planet 2 and 3, right. And these are important because there are cover rules in this game. It is a skirmish type combat. I should add that there's a simplified way. If you're totally turned off by grid-based combat, there is a simplified zone-based combat in this game. And that is really the theme of this game that we'll talk about a little bit. Is it's got something for everyone. And so on one hand, it's 45 pages. So that could seem a little overwhelming, but I think there's more in here than most people are going to use. And what the emphasis is options. We're going to have lots of options. Finally, and this was very nice. This was included with the hardcover. We have some tokens. It looks like 10 creature tokens for grid combat, which is nice. If you don't have any standees or any little models, you could use those. So there are 10 of those, and then 5, which, so those look like creature chompers, right? And then some guns to represent, I'm supposing, your operatives, whoever they may be. Before we even get into the game, this game has a lot of, let's say, supplements. Has a lot of things to print out. Now, of course, you don't need to print these out. You can always just write this stuff. But I printed out all of these just so that I can, get an idea of how they look. They also offer them on their website free to download. But I did get this with with the purchase, I should say. Also, with the hardcover purchase, I also got a PDF copy of the whole book. So buy it from Black Oath Games. Go directly to the source there. I believe they did another reprint, so there should be some available. The link should be in the description of this. But this is, yeah, so we can get into this more, but this is like the sheets that they have, just to run through this very quickly here. And this is like one set of, there's an extra battle grid. This is a creature index sheet, a site voyage log, site voyage log page 2, non-player characters, combat encounter sheet continued. So lots to look at, lots to read, but you can look at this two ways, right? Like if you're just starting, I have a feeling that getting this would feel very overwhelming. You'd be like, where do I start? What do I do? But if you solo for a while, you'll see that the more tools that you have is actually the better. And the reason for that is you just have more direction. You just have more... you have more guidance when you know what kind of information you need to capture and to track. And so your mileage may vary on that. You may look at that different ways. It is up to you. And I'd also like to say up to you is if, oops, that's my, I don't want to show you my whole YouTube intel. If you froze the video there, you can get my password. So if you, up to you, if you'd like to support this channel, Man Alone has created the Bartleby, my 25-page solo heist RPG submitted for Pocket Quest 2024. Thank you to those who have already purchased it. It is priced at $1. The reason it's priced at $1 is because, to me, being number one is most important. And so if you could spare $1, this is PDF is available now. Also have the link down below, or I guess up top if your computer's upside down. And yeah, this is a little game about a jewel heist, a standard jewel heist, but a little bit of a different twist is you play from the point of view of the jewel rather than the thief is more or less your NPC companion. And so please check that out if you get a chance. If you could pick up that, it would be great. If you really can't afford it $1 right now, like seriously, if you can't, just email me, I'll just send it to you. But if you can, it would really appreciate that. And yeah, I hope you check that out. Okay. Now onto this little fun little game. So Black Oath Games here has some tools available on their website, across1000deadworlds.com. Bet it wasn't hard for them to snag that one up before it was gone. So it does have all of these downloads available for free on the website. It looks like there are 3 tools made by someone named Shinktasa. Well, that's interesting. The first time it's Shinktasia, but then this might be a second person, Shinktasa. But also all the sheets of paper that I just showed you, don't have to buy the game to get those. Those are downloads. And third-party resources has been coming soon for a while. And I really, really hope that this starts to populate, because this is desperately needed for this game. We need to get some excitement going about this game, because we need some fillable PDF character sheets. We need some simplified maps. We need missions. We need stories, campaigns. Now there's 2 campaigns at the end of this, but it has an SRD, a system reference document. And right here it says, for all you aspiring creators, the mechanics and concepts of Across 1000 Dead Worlds may be reused freely. The text of Across 1000 Dead Worlds may not be used verbatim. All artists maintain copyright of their work. So this is pretty standard, and this is an open invitation, right? Because this is standard to say you can't just, You can't just like copy and paste the text. But it is saying you could take the ideas. So you can build your own campaigns. You could build your own twists on the game. You could build your own characters. And I really think that is important. I'm not quite sure why this game is not more popular. There's not a lot of YouTube videos on it. It does have this white text on black background. I know that for some of you, you really don't like that. And I have to say for myself, I actually love how it looks. But it does make, and I'm not quite sure why, but it does make, what does it say here? YouTube is not responding. Does anyone see my feed? It says that my YouTube is not responding. I hate live streaming. I mean, I love it, but I hate like the process of it here. Oh, I don't care. We're all just sort of talking to ourselves. Hello, Ilona's Cave. Hello, Moses. It says, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. What the hell does that mean? All YouTube gets is videos. How many videos do they need? MCon, you've been playing it all week. Okay, good. I hope and trust everyone can hear me. If not, it's good to be able to spend time with myself. And since I'm all alone, I can finally say what's been on my mind. My social security number. Okay, I think we're back. All right. So for some of you, this like text on a white or light text on a black background is not really something that you enjoy. But for me, I love how it looks. Death in Space had this as well. But for some reason, it makes it difficult for me to like navigate through the book. And I'm not sure why that is, but like there's some sort of psychological trick here that makes it hard for me to find my place in the book because the pages, they're just not distinct enough. And maybe that's because there's not a lot of art in the book. There is some, but there's not a lot, and the pages tend to run together, so it can feel a little overwhelming. I'm not sure what it is, but I don't really care. I mean, I really like how it looks, and I'm happy with it. Oh, wow. They're lowering my, they're throttling my channel. You know why? Because they don't want this information to get out. They don't want people finding out that there's a bunch of dead worlds out there that they could be traveling to. Okay. Before I go further with the book, we're going to talk about combat, and I wanted to introduce a little something called the Fate Mill. The Fate Mill is from Tower House Creative Games, and Tower House Creative Games, Elton from Tower House Creative reached out. Elton's a solo RPG head, wanted me to, let me see, how do I turn down video settings? I don't care. I mean, what is it going? It says turn down some video settings. I don't even know what my videos. Okay, let's go. No, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to change anything. I don't know how to use a computer. But this is they're a solo RPG player, and they wanted to create a die to mimic the sort of normal yes, no, yes, and yes, but outcomes. So they reached out to have me give it a roll. I will be using this right now. I'll just kind of open it up to see what's in here. But I'll be using it. I thought, they thought that they could butter me up by saying, oh, you don't have to review it. You don't even have to like it. But then look at how sinister this is. Not only did they send me this, but also they gave me a free bookmark. You think you could buy me off with a bookmark? And then they also threw in some free dice. It's like, who do you think I am? You think I could be bought off with that? And then like... This is the worst, right? They wrote this like really nice personalized note in pen to me. Listen, if you think I'm for sale like that, you're right, because if you don't have the Fate Mill, you really can't call yourself a true solo RPG player. And sometimes when I'm alone solo RPGing and I'm thinking about my Fate Mill, I just start laughing at everybody who doesn't have one. I'm like, how could there be people in the year of our Lord 2024 who don't have a Fate Mill yet? It's just it drives me wild. Anyways, no, I will be using this on my next video because I actually want to demonstrate the way that I freestyle roleplay using no system, and this dice will be perfect for that. And so let me open it here just to show everybody what's inside. This is version 2. Apparently version 1 had a typo on it. He is selling that right now with an errata sticker. You can sticker the thing over the thing that, I don't know if it's a misspelling or what, but that's at a discount if you want it. Here's a nice holographic sticker. If you were born in the 80s, that right now you're mystified and drooling for some reason. And then we have the die, very nicely made here, just showing the options you might expect. Numbers, maybe but's kind of a weird one. No but, yes but, hello but, good night but, yes and, no and, yes and, no. This is what somebody's like, hey, could I come to your party? I say, sure. Do you have a Fate Mill die? And they say no. And I go, okay, well then this is the answer of if you can come to my solo RPG party, because anybody who's anybody in the solo RPG industry has at least 140 Fate Mills. Okay. Now let's see how to use it. It's amazing that this is this long. How to use it. Drop it on a surface. And then we have, I think they said that they have, look, this is very sweet. Hope this finds you well. This is a nice person. My God. Harold Trent, lead investigator. Enclosed is what I can only describe as a device of strange and curious powers. My team and I found it lying cobweb to a table. Scrawled on a tag affixed was a Fate Mill. I'll save it. I'll save it. Coming soon, a 48-page zine. Wow. Okay, Tower House Creative. I put their link down below. We'll use it next time. We'll see how it rolls. But yeah, I suspect that probably everyone in the chat either has a Fate Mill, or I do understand that some have lost their Fate Mill in a divorce. It's like you could have the house, you could have the Benz. I'm taking my Fate Mill. It's like people try to take everything from me, but not my Fate Mill. Okay. Where was I? All right. That's nice. I want to mention that all proceeds from the first month of my solo RPG, the Bartleby, will go to purchasing an additional solar-powered bobblehead. Mr. Bean will get a friend, and so the more copies that sell, the better the bobblehead, I guess is all I'll say. Yeah, that's all she wanted. We had to go to court over the Fate Mill. Okay. Those comments are not supported by towercreative.com. All right, so we're talking Across 1,000 Dead Worlds, and what I wanted to talk about today was combat, because I started reading this and I said, I think I need to talk to some folks that do some skirmish gaming. Obviously I do play Warhammer, but I'm a little bit of a noob in that. I was more like a lore guy, and then for a long time, and then a painting guy, and then only recently did I have the dumb luck to run into a friend who is Swedish. And you know how Swedish people are. You better start wargaming if you're around them. All right, so let's talk about combat here. And in fact, I could probably give you a better view. Let's see here. No. There we go. Cool. I can't believe that worked. All right. So let's take a look. Yeah, Moses can help. Moses, take some time off from your 17 RPG projects that you're running simultaneously while running a gardening family and also running a gardening channel and raising a family. Like you're not making all of us look bad. I could barely run this channel, and other than my salamanders, I don't really have anyone to take care of. All right, so this right here we could see is this is like what we're getting into here. You could change your combat stance. Oh my God, how do we do this? How are we going to do this, folks? Where's my chat? Oh, there it is. All right. So if you're able to change your combat stance, just imagine what else. It's going to be like, what kind of deodorant did you apply? Okay. I'm starting at the beginning. Now, on the surface, this combat is pretty simple. Or it runs on a simple mechanic that I really like, which is that every round you start with round one, fight. Yeah, you know what? I actually have seen RPGs that say that that's like their instructions for combat, and then they're like, $17, please. Oh man, I forgot to say this to Saint Solo. Saint Solo, Charles here sent me a video on octopi, and I have to say, if the aliens come and they say, can we speak to the most intelligent life forms? It's going to be octopuses. Those things are unreal. I wouldn't doubt it if they can read. All right, let's talk combat. Thanks for sending me that video. It's incredible. Okay, so the first things first, we have this stealth, that there's some rules for stealth where you can get advantage. I'm not quite certain if there's anything that establishes stealth or if it's just like a story thing that says you have now, like as I'm narrating it in my head, I'm like, oh, well, we kind of creeped up on them, or if there's some way to determine if you have stealth. And who was it that was saying MCon? Yeah, I'm not sure. If you have any insight into this, please let me know. Then there's also this encounter reaction where if you encounter a creature, you could roll a 1d10 and there's a 20% chance that the creature just goes, huh? And then they walk away. So the first thing we're going to do is take a blank combat grid. Let me, sorry if that's making the things go away, but okay. So we would take, we have I think, one of the combat grids in here. Let's take a look. So we'd take a blank combat grid. Again, if you get the hardcover from Black Oath, they include these ready-made combat grids, and I think that's pretty snazzy because part of this is figuring out what's where on these grids, and this is maybe an easy way to do it. Oh, my screen's completely covered. Hey, up here are these ones. Okay. So we're going to take a blank combat grid and randomly place cover or identify the pre-existing map's cover. Determine our position, call for initiative rolls, and begin combat. Okay, right now, I completely understand. There's nothing I don't understand yet. Okay, so let's just music. I'm using YouTube's. They have a new thing called creator music where you can, if you're a creator, you can access like these like royalty-free songs, and it's really interesting experience because some of them rule and some of them are just really bad, and you can't ever tell the difference. Okay, let me see what you write here. General combat rules. Main mechanic is opposed roll d20 rolls to hit. Right. Oh, this is a roll over 20 game. Almost with everything, I'm pretty sure it's roll over 20. So you just roll 1d20 and then add whatever skill or attribute that you have. Main mechanics opposed roll d20s to hit. Melee is attack skill plus d20 versus attack skill plus d20. So that's easy enough. So you and whoever you're attacking. Range attack is skill plus d20 versus dex. So that's versus the opponent's dex, right? That makes sense because they can like jump out of the way, right? Stealth actions take additional time on the time tracker when exploring. Oh, okay. So the time tracker is advancing. You have more of a threats that can come. You can be found out. Okay, yeah, that doesn't sound so bad so far. All right, so the sequence is player characters and fully fleshed out team members, I guess, if you have NPCs. The NPC creator engine on here is wild. Everything's wild on here. In order to like create some of the enemies, you gotta take like a leave of absence from your job. It has so much. It has everything. This is a game for people who like love a system that's just going to give them everything. All right, and then all combatants. God, I put like ambient music as what I wanted this music to be, and it's really. Let's get rid of that. How weird. Okay, let's try that. There's some ambiance. Okay. The goal of combat is to deal... Yeah, all combatants can move once per round during their turn. And you have this... you have a resource, if you can see right here, stamina. And at base, you get 10 stamina per round, and like different things cost different amounts of stamina, which I kind of dig that. There's also like mods that you can get in different things that will affect that stamina. And if you're ever in 0G or underwater, you have 8 stamina. Yeah, it was like we went from like some sort of like chill wave to 1920s vaudeville. All right, so all combatants move once per round. We'll learn about that more. Goal of combat is deal high enough damage to bypass the target's constitution, right? So that is got to be like armor. Actually, no. I think what that is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the only thing that takes down combatants is if they get a wound, and you have to hit them hard enough to wound them. And they also have... You only like score a hit on them if you wound them or knock them down. Otherwise, it's like a flesh wound or they brush it off, which is interesting. Unless you're using lingering damage, damage only measures if the attack knocks down or wounds, right? If they receive wounds, they must roll on the injuries table. Okay. Most PCs can... There we go. They must roll on the injuries table. Most PCs can only suffer a maximum of 3 wounds before dying. When an enemy receives a wound, they get closer to being defeated, but if they recover from being knocked down, they roll a special recovery status. This can get dicey. Hello, Teresa. Hi, so nice to have you here. The old desert gal has arrived. We're talking combat in Across 1,000 Dead Worlds. I'm just thinking like in a combat with 2 or 3, this isn't going to be bad, but I'm just thinking about the tokens. They have like 10 creature tokens. So hypothetically to manage this for 10, but this is the thing is if you get really good at a system, it doesn't matter. You can have 100 enemies. If you look at like when me, myself and Di was playing 5 parsecs from home, and now granted there's editing and also I think that guy has like a turbocharge setting for his personhood, but you know, if you have it down, you're just able to do it. Yeah, when you deal damage, you have to hit over their constitution and knockdown or wound damage under count bounces off unless you have the optional lingering damage roll. So lingering damage, I'm not quite sure what that means, but I'm guessing it means like if you shoot like a shuriken and it's buried in their skin, or if you something poisoned, or if it's burning, maybe. That's my guess. All right, here's one of the battle maps. Okay, cover. Yeah, stamina to do main actions. Any leftover stamina can do defensive actions. You can also, I read, use your stamina to like purchase a spot up in the initiative. Okay, whether you're calculating line of sight or taking shelter from range attacks, cover is an important factor in combat. Range combat skills have -2 to target combatants behind partial cover and -5 against full cover. When playing with a group, the GM can place any cover they want or none at all. Okay, good news on cover is that there is, over the next few pages, because I really don't feel like doing that in solo play. I don't feel like going, how do I set up a small farmhouse? Well, there'd be cover here because of the hay bales. Number one, you can just, if you want to, you can just use these sheets. And then number two is you can also use one D20 roll here, and it will kind of give you some preset cover amalgamations. And what I would probably do with this is I would roll this a few times and kind of combine the results to set up where cover is on the map. And you can see the striped line is, yeah, this is absolutely Pashka. This is like, this is something that I was like sitting at this book. Pashka said they don't have the mental energy to dive in yet. This thing was like emanating heat from across the room because I was like, oh man, eventually I have to do this. But I want to like respect it enough here to really try to learn it, because I think this could be an awesome solo game. I'm not sure if it'll be a great solo game to stream, because I have a feeling there's like a lot of pauses to calculate things and determine things. Maybe we could figure out a way to do it. Now, if you scream like if you scream like Willona's Cave, if you stream like Willona's Cave, like Moses, you could probably do this, because Moses does like a narrative thing. And that I think this would be amazing for, because it really covers everything. But here, where I'm just waffling, my videos would be like 90 minutes of me going, hold on a second, wait a minute. Okay. So then we have placing the characters on the grid. With the combat area determined, it's time to place the combatants, enemies, characters, other NPCs. Okay, this did confuse me a little bit. So basically, you determine where your faction is. You roll D4 and say, okay, this person's north, this person's east. They could be both north, but then you kind of got to give like a little bit of room between them. And then I guess this is where we determine surprise, but if I was solo playing, I would maybe give myself advantage or disadvantage on this if there were different factors involved. Or I might just say, yes, I've surprised them. So then we roll for placement. Both groups must be placed on the same side. They must be separate from each other as possible. Remaining combatants are... All right. Let's do like a little example of this. You go away. A little window. All right, so say that I want to leave these up here because I want to be able to see it. So say we have, well, let's just use a basic map here. All right, so say that we have two factions. It's me and my boys going into battle. All right. The fellas and the lady fellas going into battle, and we'll say that there's two of them. Well, let's go three. So we'll say that this is us, and that we're facing two tall living cans of Pepsi with teeth. So what we'll do, man, that one's tough. We'll give 2 cans of Pepsi here. All right, well, this guy wants to be a part of the fun. So now we say that I'm going to roll D4. Where's one of these stupid caltrops? I'll roll D4. Yeah, there is this zone combat. I did see that. I did mention that, but I kind of want to give this a shot. So we roll 3, and so we'll say the enemies are going to be south. So there's north, south. Okay, but here's what I don't understand, and maybe I need some help here, but let's do this first. Another south, okay. Let me just get a wider spread here. I rolled south again. All right, we're gonna go west. So we'll say that we are here. Now, what it does say is for place, you roll for placement. Combatants are placed on the first hex row of their side. If the first is filled, place them on the second, and so on. So when it says the first row, let's just say north and south here. Is the first row here? Or is like the first row at the midline, like at the front here? I guess it makes sense that the first row would be here. It says place them on the first row, and then when the first... When the first row is filled, then like move to the second row. So I guess that makes sense, because then you have more time to like move into strategic positions and find cover and stuff. Let's go back to my, what do my handlers say? Anything on that? All right, so then we determine surprise if one side, so let's see if there's any surprise here. Actually, we'll roll a d6. 5. Opponents are surprised. Great, so I got the drop on these punks. And if one side surprises another, they gain +2 to their initiative. If the party surprises their opponents, they can choose their positions after the enemies are placed. I mean, what is that? So what is that? So I can choose my position. So can I go like this? I need a little more there. Maybe we'll learn more. If the party surprises their opponents, they can choose their positions after the enemies are placed. If the PCs have surprise, or if neither side has surprise, roll on the encounter activity table to determine what the enemy was doing before the encounter. These results might alter the nature of the encounter. Sleeping opponent. Okay, so we'll roll a d8. This is d8. 6. Recovering from a recent battle. Wow, do you believe that battle? It was so intense. I hope we don't fight for another 3 days. What? Okay. Yeah, that's what I think. Executive decision, John. We're gonna do, or Jake. We're gonna do that. Okay. So, if the PCs have surprise, these results might alter the nature of the encounter. Okay, got that. Use common sense. Sure. Always. All right. Setup ends when each combatant rolls d10 plus speed. I don't know what my speed would be. Let's say, what's a starting speed? Like 15. Yeah, so your speed is an attribute. Also, does anyone speak Gaelic? Because I really want to know how to say this word. Like, the ancient alien race is that word, and it's actually from Scottish Gaelic. Given what I know from, like, people who are Irish around me, would that be pronounced maybe Arshide? I don't know, but I'd like to know. So attribute-wise, what would a normal... I think with speed, you're going to divide 70 amongst your primary attributes. Attributes are foundation of every diver, and they only change under very specific. All characters have primary attributes, which are used to complete attribute checks, etc. When you first create your diver, set each primary attribute to 8, and then distribute 12 attribute points among them. Okay, so let's say average 12. So we'll say that the initiative 12... oh, that's not a d20. Oh, no. I'm supposed to roll a d10. Okay, so that's 7 plus 12, 19. Higher rolls act first. Combat's re-rolling against each other. With tied, initiatives only determine once. I gotta say it, folks. This is where Dragonbane excels. But on the other hand, if you want to include speed, this is not going to do the trick for you, right? If we want to include speed in the calculation of initiative. I just don't know if I care enough. Yeah. I'm wondering if melee weapons end up being a disadvantage. They're very high. Okay. Alright, so grants combatant a bonus to initiative rolls equal to number in brackets. This can come from many sources, including gear, talents, and inherent abilities. So... this is where it gets a little bit sticky, right? Because I will say this, I do get... okay, so we have dexterity, and we're going to add speed. How do I calculate speed? Oh, I think this is like the song from Quinn's Ideas. That channel rules. It has like all the Dune stuff. Yes. Oh, maybe speed comes from okay, yeah, talents, gear, and abilities. So I guess I just have to keep a running score of my speed. I don't see anywhere to keep it. I should also mention, since we're being honest with each other and we're really sharing our deepest fears, I should mention that This character creator looks pretty handy here. Let's see. Can everyone see that? Speed isn't an attribute. It's a gear bonus. That's weird though, right? It should have something to do with dexterity. Well, I guess dexterity maybe is side to side. For instance, I have very high dexterity and very low speed. Yeah, so this is one of the tools that they have. And I did check. I believe that this one is like the if you max all these out, it'll start reducing points. So it does give you the ability to kind of keep that starting economy. Actually, this is really cool. This is a good character creator here. All right, so speed's a gear bonus. NP, no problem, no problem. Yeah, it's not easy to open up about supplements for role-playing games, and obviously, you know, everyone's afraid of it, but I felt it was necessary. Turn versus round. Yeah, this makes sense. So turn is your single combatant, and then round is when everyone's done. Stamina. I love it. When it's a PC's turn in combat, they must choose which action to take, but a person can only do so much. Ain't that the truth, brother? Every combat action costs stamina, with different actions requiring more. PCs start with 10 to spend every round. If a combat situation takes place underwater in 0G, their max stamina is reduced to 8, reflecting the awkwardness. This is so awkward. I can't believe I'm seeing you and we're engaged in combat to the death underwater. So this is something here that I also will say is like this book would have definitely benefited from a quick reference manual in the back. And unfortunately, there also is no current GM screen available that I could find. But this is the kind of stuff that, like, I feel like I'd be using this very often to the, you know, and it's fine. Like, I can write this down in an Excel or whatever, but this is the kind of stuff that I want to be able to not have to flip to page 55 to see. Standard attack, heavy attack, fast attack, basically all your PlayStation buttons, switch, draw weapons, and 5 stamina to switch or draw a weapon. Dang. Okay. So really, you're getting at base, you're getting two moves. Maybe if you use a fast attack. Oh, that's interesting. I was not expecting that. Yeah, it's online. Jake, that character creator is actually on across 1000deadworlds.com. It's like part of their supplements. Yeah, a flow chart. That would be really nice. I would give 2. How does that sound? Oh god, I'm so sorry. I would give 2 of these EL fudges. This is right now the bounty I have for a flow sheet. Anyone who does it, I'll mail those to you. And then 1 for all those who have fallen in combat while solo playing. And I'm just gonna munch on one myself here if you don't mind. Alex is working on an expansion. Maybe that'll be included. God bless Alex. This is an incredible book, though. I mean, the fact that there were obviously a lot of contributors, but it seems like this dude wrote, or Alex, whoever they are, wrote all of this on their own. Okay, combat stance is an optional rule, as every rule is. After initiative is rolled, players can choose their PC's combat stance. Yeah. This must have a flow chart. I can't think about this every time. Or maybe I could. Maybe thinking about this stuff would actually like make me enjoy combat as part of the narrative more than just like trying to get it over with like I do in other games. That's kind of cool. Can move once per round. Unenhanced bipedal humanoids. Can move 1 hex around. 1 hex around. Melee. There doesn't seem like there could be a usable melee build here. If I'm moving 1 hex around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, that's not worth it. I mean, I guess the melee weapon's a desperation thing. But then again, there's not like actual soldiers right now that are like, no thanks on the gun. I'll just use a club. So that makes sense. I guess I'm stuck with like Warhammer 40k brain where it's like, no, I don't want a gun. I'm going to run across an open field with a chain sword. Combatants can move before or after they take all their actions. Fine. No combatant can move twice, no matter speed or enhancements. Does that include vehicles, I wonder? Combatant may forfeit their action. Okay, so that's a dash. Cannot finish an occupied hex. Combat resolution. To attack, combatants roll a d20 in their close combat or range combat skill depending on their weapon. This may be modified by different factors such as enemy abilities. Okay. In melee, the attacker gains an attacker bonus +2. All combatants add their corresponding attacks. Yes, this means that an attacker may end up receiving damage in their turn. Okay. Melee sucks. I would not want to ever use melee. Not only do I got to travel the great distance across the map, one hex at a time, I also open myself up to sort of like an opportunity attack every time I attack. All right. Really? You can melt enemies with the melee combat bonus and then enemies get hurt. I just want, well, maybe this is an extreme position here that more often like your starting spot is going to be something like this, right? The attacker, okay, so range, the attacker rolls to attack while the target tests dex. I'm going to mute for a second so I could chew freely. Delicious. Okay. The attacker rolls to attack while the target tests dex. That makes sense to me. If the target rolls higher, if the attacker rolls higher, they score a hit. Targeting an enemy in your melee range inflicts -2 penalty. I like that. That makes sense because it's harder to shoot somebody who's moving like 1 foot in front of you. Even at range, though, a shot fired into a melee has a 50% chance of hitting the wrong target. Okay. I wonder if anyone's playing Rogue Trader, the CRPG by Owlcat Games right now. Because this is something well known. If you have the Argenta build character at the beginning of the game, it's like hitting everybody but your target. But then it becomes OP. If there's a tie, the combatant with the highest attribute or skill value wins. That makes sense. If the attack is successful, roll a hit location. We're getting in the weeds, but this is good. This is good. Let's take this on. Hit location. All PCs have a base damage of D10 plus their weapons damage and any modifier from hit location. So I'm curious to see where the hit locations are going to be broken down. When attacking a swarm, do not roll on the hit location table. All damage is automatically modified by +1 if the target is knocked down. What a sweet song. If you're feeling tired right now, just go to bed. If the damage total exceeds the target's constitution, the target's knocked down. So this is it right here, is that they got to get these wounds. HP is nothing. Being knocked down only ends with a recovery check. Pass a willpower check and spend 5 stamina to get back up. As opposed to PCs, opponents have a single attack skill and act by following their behavioral matrix on page 274. All right, if they get knocked down, they roll a recovery check on their turn as normal. If successful, they can act but have a disadvantage. Except for synthetics. All right, I got to peek ahead to page 274 here. I got to see it. Because I want to see what this matrix looks like. So where were we right now? We're on page 59. It's 274. Ah. That's not right. While in combat, roll every turn on the character's combat behavior table. Okay, here it is. So that's just the start of it. So these must be like the enemy archetypes. So brute will do this. Yeah. Yeah, you got to be all in on this combat in this game. There's not going to be like a quick, you know, you hit slime for 5 and they're dead. I mean, this is these combatants are built out here. Although I should say what I'm guessing is once you fill out your combatant sheet and you have that information in front of you, that's probably going to be a lot easier to just reference that. Yeah. So you have like an enemy type and then all their stats, their wounds, their defense, their armor. Yeah. I mean, I do think this could be a little intimidating for new players. But who cares? Like, not every game has to be like new player friendly. I don't know how that became a rule, but that seems to be a rule very often. It's like, oh, like it's too hard. It's like, well, it's not for everyone. Choose actions up to stamina limit. Roll to attack. If you hit, roll hit location and damage. If damage is higher than Constitution. You should make a flowchart and sell it on Drive-Thru RPG for $3 a pop because people would definitely buy that. All right, that's good to know. That makes sense. Okay, 55. Anyone who's joining, we're just looking over and discerning combat rules in Across 1,000 Dead Worlds. For those who have been here for a while, you know what I actually mean is those in the comments are explaining them to me. Combat stance, moving, enemy combat. As opposed to PCs, opponents have a single attack skill and act by following their behavioral matrix. Okay. If they get knocked down, they recover a recovery check. They roll a recovery check. If successful, they can act but have disadvantage. For the rest of combat. Okay. If unsuccessful, remain knocked down and as such cannot attack. Yeah, so you really want to knock people over. When an NPC combatant makes their first attack, roll to determine who they target or who they target next. Closest threat, most wounded opponent, ranged opponent, most protected, most dangerous. Yeah, this is very GM-less friendly. I'm loving this. But again, I can't be paging through this book to find this because maybe that's what the issue is here, is that tables don't look like tables in this book. Like, as I'm scrolling through this, I don't know, like, what's a table and what's, like, a paragraph with weird indentation. I mean, I can figure it out, but if the enemy has a defense, they can subtract that. Okay. So defense is the stamina. In the same way PCs use. If the enemy has a defense stat, they can subtract that many points from the attack rolls. In the same way PCs use stamina for defensive maneuvers. Defense will be subtracted from attacks in the order they take place. You don't need to decide which attacks a creature defends from. When an enemy recovers from being knocked down, roll d6 to determine. Each status modifies the enemy's behavior as detailed in their description. Guardians are not affected by this rule. Okay, here's a hit location. I want to do a run of this game where I only hit people in their feet. Like it's a... Okay. Oh, there's a morale. So what does morale determine? Like if it's low morale, do people just run? Is it... maybe like the combat's over if you break them down like to a certain level of morale. You don't have... I don't want to make like... You don't... If you don't feel like keep answering my questions, you don't have to. I'll just read along here, but I'm curious. When targeted by an attack, a PC can spend stamina to dodge and parry. Each point spent inflicts cumulative -1 modifier. to the chosen opponent's attack roll. What I'm curious about is this like, would I save stamina if I felt like I was going to be attacked? Like, would I say, well, I'm kind of close to a melee attack here, so I'm going to save stamina on this round so that I can use a defensive maneuver? Where's my dice? I want to play with dice in my hand. Okay. There are many different varieties of armor. This insulates the wearer from incoming damage, making it less likely that they take a wound. The number between brackets indicates how many damage points are blocked per attack. Attacks which penetrate armor. Oh, cool. Check this out. If the hit location is protected by a piece of armor, the player may choose to sacrifice that section of armor in order to avoid receiving a wound. The armor piece is destroyed and the armor's total protection is reduced by 1. A hand's result damages the character's gloves if worn or their weapon. A damaged weapon may be repaired with a technology check outside of combat, but this advances the time track D4. So the time track is really the threat tracker here. It's starting to come together. Right. 5 stamina attack, save 5 for defense. Agreed. Little example here, love that. Line of sight. So this is something that's like very second nature to people who do wargaming. When using combat grid, it's crucial to know what each combatant can see, that is, what is in their line of sight. To determine whether a combatant can see a target, trace an imaginary line from one side of their hex to any part of the target's hex. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's what you use like a little ruler for. Okay, this is... I actually sat and looked at this yesterday. So thrown explosives. You have to do a check to see if it lands where you wanted it to. If it leaves the combat grid, it's lost without consequence. Different weapons have different types of AoE. So this is kind of interesting. So on this grid, where you see C is where the combatant is. And if it's T, it's the target, like where it intends to land. And then here's all the blast patterns that could happen. What's like amazing to me right now is what this essentially is, and why this is so fascinating to me, is this is like truly what is under the hood of any type of XCOM type video game. This is like the stuff that is mathematically under the hood. And so I really like seeing this. I want to give effort to do this, but I'll have to, if I do want to do this, I'll have to take some notes. Critical hits, critical misses. I'm very exhausted. Terrible swing. I get that every time. So rolling a 1 is a critical miss. Rolling a 20 is a critical success. Suppressive fire. Instead of targeting an enemy, a combatant wielding a full auto weapon can spend 10 stamina to deter enemy action within 3 hexes in the weapon's range. Any combatant who enters the suppressed hexes instantly suffers the weapon's damage. This action consumes 1 ammo and lasts until the combatant's next turn. Okay. Cover me. And then Overwatch. Character can choose to delay their action until an enemy enters. Yeah, we know what Overwatch is. Flanking. When 2 allied combatants occupy opposite sides of an enemy's space, they are flanking that enemy. Each of them receives +2 to combat rolls. Nice. Desperate attack. A melee combatant can cast all caution aside to focus on their attack, adding an extra D10 to their combat skill, but doing so leaves them open to potential attacks. The next attack against them adds a D10 as well. Damn. So combat skill, is that also derived from like gear, I wonder? Because I'm not seeing that. Not seeing that on the sheet. Yeah. Yeah. So that, I do agree that that is kind of exciting to me, that I could just like obliterate somebody if I put all my stamina behind it. Disengaging, attacks of opportunity. So for those who don't know, like attacks of opportunity is if you move by an enemy's like direct adjacent space to them, they can take an attack of opportunity where like if you're too slow, they can hit you, or if you're like next to a opponent in melee range, and then you try to like get away from melee range to enter into range, then as you're backing up, that could provoke an attack of opportunity. A combatant is considered to have escaped combat completely when they exit the area from any side of the combat grid. That could be very useful or useless. So then we have some combat examples. Some random combat events. Once per combat, to spice up the encounter, a PC may spend 1 luck to trigger a random combat event. See, this I dig. And how much luck? Okay, you start with 5 luck. I like that. That's a cool mechanic. All right, lingering damage. Oh, let me close the... Hey. Okay, usually damage that does not knock down or wound a combatant has no lasting effect. To reduce the frustration this can cause when fighting opponents with very high armor, or to play a faster, higher stakes game, use lingering damage. Each time a combatant damages their target but doesn't knock them down, they add a d4 to subsequent damage rolls. This cumulative damage pool benefits any combatant. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool, I guess. I'm trying to think if I hate that. I think I like that. I think I like that because if you have like a high armor, low... yeah, there's also, Charles, just to get back to what you said, there's also like a reference document that's available on the site. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but yeah, it is really nice. They have like glossary in the back. There's actually no index, which I pointed out when I first got it, which is kind of a bum. No index. But yeah, so I think I like that. If you have high damage, low HP, it's really frustrating. You just feel like you're doing nothing. Okay, during combat, characters will receive wounds and become injured. Each time a character receives a non-fatal wound, they suffer a cumulative -2. Rolling a nat 1 on the injury table indicates critical injury. The effects of such a wound may not be healed ever. Yay. I like a brutal game, but sometimes I feel like those kind of things can accumulate. And I have like, you can get to the point where you have so many injuries or like psychic damages that you can't do anything in the game without like doing a bunch of like math acrobatics to calculate everything that is permanently wrong with you. Once combat is over, a character may attempt to treat a wound by rolling medical aid check and expending 1 medical supplies. Can be done only once per wound per time track. On a success, the wound is healed. I'm trying to see time tracks. Where are we tracking those time tracks? Because this, I'm very interested to see what this looks like. So you need like, if you were gonna do this, I would just start keeping all this on a Word document, because this is for like every planet that you go to, and then every expedition, every site you go to. I just would be making too many copies. I want to see where do we do the time track? Yeah. Yes, index is very important. And it's very frustrating to not have an index because I feel like I'm constantly hunting. Like what I'll normally do, what I did with, yeah, I could pull it out. Like what I did with the soft cover Dragonbane rules, and this does have an index, but I did it anyways, is like I have to have this so that I can quickly reference them. I don't see a time tracker. Am I just completely missing that? You can heal it at the station. Yeah, Karam Station is kind of a cool thing because you're a contractor for them called a diver, and apparently at the start of every like outing you get you start there, which is a good sort of anchor. I wish there was a time tracker. Am I just missing this? Interesting. Let's look at the table of contents. Tracking gear, the rules, stress, emotions, playing the game. That's cool. See, the other thing is, when you have a game like this, I'm probably going to try to avoid combat whenever I can. Oh yeah, spaceship, baby. KRS-1. Just kidding, KRM-1. Picking a name. The Manticore Anthem. Okay. I want to see where the time tracker is. Please don't make me search tracker. Oh boy. This is really a game that you're going to have to probably until like the first year. I'm not even kidding right now. After the first year of playing it, you're going to have to... here we go, baby. You're going to have to just keep this book handy. And as part of the game, you can't look at it as like, oh, I have to look at the book again? Yes. Yes. I'm sorry. You have to look at the book again. It's okay. It's all part of the game. Okay, voyage time. The uncertainty... I know that this is not combat. I'm just curious. Voyages take 1 to 7 weeks. That certainly tells you the scale of this game. So it's at least going to take 1 week. Okay. So now I think I'm seeing the main mechanism here. You can do a lot of things, but you're going to advance your time tracker. And when you do that, you're going to use up food, and you're going to use up oxygen, and you're going to use up water, and you're going to increase the amount of stress and the amount of time that you have and the more things that you run into that want to eat you. I think that's what we have here. Oxygen may not be rationed. Yes, it can. You just go little breaths, little sips. Primary exploration, time trackers 129. Thank you. I should just listen. I should give you access to my channel, MCon. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. This was great. Charles and I thank you. Okay, when the time... Okay, yeah. So this is very much like Starforged, right? These little closures here are 10 minutes. And 1 hour. Oh, this is 1 hour. Ooh. Damn. This is something I would also like an online tool for. That I could just click like I use Stealth, because to track this... Okay. All right, well, just to kind of take a peek here at this zone-based combat for players who don't have or don't enjoy minis and tokens or play RPGs online with voice chat and little else. Alternative, zone-based. In zone-based combat, the battlefield is divided into 4 abstract zones, numbered 1 of 4. These represent the area where the combat takes place without getting into too much detail. Deep Diver crew always in zone 1, opponents in zone 4. This is interesting. I might do like a hybrid of this if I were to play it online. Cover, movement. Yeah, to engage in melee, combatants have to be in the same zone. Yeah. I could probably do a... See, here's the thing. I'm a bad boy when it comes to directions, though. Like, I am not a rules as written solo player. There are other channels that are much better at that than me. I am much more like, yeah, here's what I feel like, or like, oh, I forgot this, or that's fine, I'll just do this. But I like starting at a good foundation, a good structure, and then deviating from there, not like starting loosey-goosey. Blinded or burning? What if you're both? Oh, that's got to be terrible. Dazed? What? Freezing, infected. Parasitic infection. Oh, wait a minute. I know this one. Some records tell of parasitic alien organisms that can lay eggs within a human body. Uh-huh. Oh, you got to go back to Karam Station before it gestates. Oh my god. See, this is why I'm kind of excited about this game. Oh man. Think about the stress involved in that. Like you're going along, you got a great game going, and all of a sudden you got an egg, and you need to get back to Karam, and you're 6 weeks away. You could return to a ship, remove any armor, and perform a field surgery. No such attempts have succeeded without the death of the host. To safely remove the parasite, the medical aid check must be an impressive success or higher. Yep. I want to play it. I know it's a little more than we're used to on this here channel, but I want to play it. I'm more motivated to learn this than I am than I ever was to learn the periodic table. Space rads. Okay. Well, I think we have a pretty good idea here of what we're looking at combat. We're looking at maybe a mixture of a grid-based system and a zone-based system, and I think we could do it. I think I just need to like read it over a couple times and internalize it, because there's that point where you're like reading it the first time and you're like, okay, and then there's a point where you do it a couple times and you're like, oh yeah, I understand this. I get how this goes. And it sounds like I wish I knew. Is M Con okay to call you that? I don't know if M was saying that you seem to have like a pretty good sense of the rotation of things, like how things go in order. And I think that's what we're going to find eventually is like this core 1, 2, 3, 4 step mechanic that then we have to just check details about. But I needed to get to the point where I could be like, move, roll, select, roll, move. I can't I certainly can't live stream this if I'm like constantly taking 5-minute breaks in battle, and one battle takes like 3 sessions. But I think it's doable. I mean, if you can dream it, you can do it. You're welcome for that little inspiration. That comes free. Actually costs $1. Please, if you've not already, check out the Bartleby on DriveThruRPG. Links below for this game. Links below for the Fate Mill. We'll use that to roll in the future. And Max, great, thank you. And we'll see you all later. Thank you for joining. I'll post this up a little bit later, just so other people can enjoy the sound of me going, huh, what's it talking about? And as much as you all did, I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see